This is Fox News at 9.
As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz, we the jury find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
First on Fox, Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty on all charges. The 18-year-old was charged with 5 felonies, including first-degree intentional homicide. Rittenhouse shot and killed 2 and wounded a 3rd during a racial injustice protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year.
The verdict, a contentious one, with protests already breaking out in some major cities, including Chicago, New York City. This one is in Chicago, as you see here. People there voicing their displeasure with the jury's decision. Now, while today's verdict weighs heavy on the hearts of some who say Rittenhouse's actions tarnished the purpose of the initial protests, others say today's decision was a just one.
Fox Antonio's Robin Oginye brings us both sides.
Kenosha, Wisconsin resident Adon Herrera remembers the night Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed 2 people in his hometown. He had been protesting the shooting of Jacob Blake by police officers for days leading up to the night of unrest.
That night was the only night that was extremely different. Reason being, every night we didn't see anybody with any type of firearms. We didn't really have any type of conflict with anybody like that. But on that night, there was dozens of people that showed up right around that curfew time.
Fast forward 15 months later to Rittenhouse's trial, where the 18-year-old is found not guilty. St. Mary's University law professor Bill Piet says the outcome is in line with what the Constitution is meant to uphold.
The Constitution doesn't say whether Kyle exercised good judgment or whether he probably was guilty. What resulted is the state was not able to prove to the satisfaction of the jurors beyond a reasonable doubt that he was guilty of the crimes.
Luckily, he was armed. Otherwise, we've seen what had happened to people that weren't armed, especially even here in Austin.
Brandon Burkhart is the president of This Is Texas Freedom Force, a group that prides themselves on being armed while protecting Texas landmarks. During the height of the protests last summer, the group stood their ground at the Alamo, deterring those they say would cause harm to the building. He says Rittenhouse's intent to protect property in Kenosha was justified.
Having private, law-abiding citizens come out to protect the properties of innocent business owners, landowners, etc., was a necessary need.
Piet says no matter what your opinion on a case may be, it's important to remember the public only sees bits and pieces of the trial.
It's important to remember that the only people who have heard all of the evidence in this lengthy proceeding and then participated in the deliberations are the jurors. So they're the only ones who could tell us exactly why they reached that determination.
As for the city of Kenosha, some are trying to picture the future of a city forever changed on August 26, 2020.
I don't think that the society of Kenosha is ever going to be the same.
We reached out to SAPD to see if they were on the lookout for any potential protests that could break out here in response to today's verdict. We did not receive a response. Robin Oginye, Fox News at 9. Camilla.
Robin.